and welcome to the Blu Ray Hunter. I'm the Blu Ray Hunter, Jonathan Moody, and I'm with Jackey Hall.
Woo!
So
do not go in there. Sorry.
Great. This is how we're starting. All right.
A little smelly over here.
Oh, we have like 3 dogs here. So.
Oh, they're bombing me out.
And they were doing this earlier too while we're watching The Disaster Artist. Kind of the perfect thing to say while we've got our like noses plugged up and everything. So The Disaster Artist, as you were saying, because we were admiring the back of this case that has the doggy from,
of course.
You know, yeah.
But
and
it looks like the Men in Black dog.
It looks like the Men in Black dog. So I made a little joke about how it would be funny if Will Smith had come up and said, "Oh, hi, doggy."
Yeah, for 2 seconds.
For 2 seconds, and then walked away.
How much do you think that would cost?
2 seconds of Will Smith.
Well, he would have to get a day rate.
You'd have to get a day rate.
What's his day rate?
Oof.
Hi, Ghost. What are you doing?
I don't know. I don't even, like, maybe he would, he might cut his day rate down because it's, like, working with James Franco and stuff, you know? Like, I don't know. So. You don't think so?
No.
Well, then I have no idea. But, so, we're going to talk about The Disaster Artist, which is the first time watch for her. Is one of my favorite movies, period. Like, I absolutely adore this movie. If you've never seen it, it's basically about Tommy Wiseau, who is a weird motherfucker. He's weird. And, like, I'm going to meet this guy one day, I'm sure, because, I mean...
He's probably, like, my uncle or something.
Yeah, and he's just such a strange...
No, in my life.
And they actually say hi doggy on it. Like, that's so weird.
It wasn't even a big part of the movie.
I know! I don't know why they, like, marketed that.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Maybe because people like dogs.
Yeah, that's probably it. They probably just... People go in the back, oh, there's a dog in it? Okay, and then they watch it, and, like, literally, it's 2 seconds of the actual movie showing the scene that actually has the, oh, hi, doggy.
I mean,
you know.
I'm just saying maybe they like dogs, because obviously, like, I really like dogs, but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not them.
Yeah, anyway. And you like the movie. You
actually, yeah, that's saying a lot.
That is saying a lot.
I pay attention to 0 movies.
So, as I was saying, like, Tommy is, like, this weird director who was not ever really a director. He was never really an actor. Like, he was an actor. He was trying so hard to get parts in movies and everything, and things weren't working for him. So, he and his friend, Greg Sestero, decided that they were going to make a movie together. Greg, because I've read the book to The Disaster Artist, and then I watched the movie.
Oh, there's a book?
Yeah, there's a book.
Oh.
And Greg wrote it. And so, I think I told you that before.
Was it after the first movie?
No, it was after The Room got made.
That's what I'm saying.
And yeah,
So The Room...
The Room was made, it blew up, and I guess people were asking, like, more about it.
Yeah.
So he decided, let me just write a book about it. So he wrote this book, and it was based on the experience of making The Room. But it also has, like, so it's half making The Room, and half, like, the story of how they met, how they became friends, and how he, you know, talked him into making The Room.
The book?
Yeah, the book is half of that. Okay. So that's why they didn't do it that way, because that would have been, like, more like Tarantino-like, where they would, like, jumble everything together, and, you know, what they decided to do was, you know, obviously the first half was, you know, and it begins on the greatest scene I've ever seen in an opening scene. Like, Dave Franco plays Greg, and he is just kind of bombed in class. Like, and he is so scared. He doesn't have, he has so many insecurities about himself. He's, you know, there's all this stuff going on in himself. And then Tommy, like, gets called. Well, they said, who wants to be next? And he goes, I'll be next.
Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, Thomas, show me what you got. He goes, I'm Tommy. You know, right? He doesn't want to go by Thomas, right?
Yeah.
And he walks up there and
does something totally bizarre.
He walks up and he does Streetcar Named Desire scene with the Stella scene. But he, like, and Marlon Brando, when he played it in, you know, in the movie and probably on stage, he only did Stella once. You know, he only said Stella once, and it was like one yelling of Stella. But in this case, that's all he did was go, Stella! Stella!
It was a nightmare.
My favorite
It's
bit
like
is...
if you tried to make it bad times 1,000.
Right. And so he does that, and then the best part is when he's saying Stella, like one of the last times he goes, Stella! It's like his hair all over the place, his long hair. And it was it's just, honestly, that is one of my favorite scenes in all of the Disaster Artist. Like, that, I think that's the thing that got Jackey hooked. And that's the thing that should get everybody hooked. Because it's the scene that really, right then and there, you know what you're in for. You know that there's this weird character. He's when he and Dave Franco start talking, which is Grace Cicero, they start talking. He's like, "Don't tell anybody about me. Don't say anything. I don't want anybody to know anything about me."
Seriously, no one knows. Still,
yeah, no.
Whatever.
And he never says anything.
Yeah. But I'm sure that, like, from this movie, that, like, someone has stepped out and, like, investigated where he's from, who he is, what his actual name is, where he got his money from.
I don't know why Zoe is not, like, what is that? Like, I wonder if that's, like, French or if that's, like, people are wondering.
Like, why doesn't he want anyone to know, like, even where he's from or where he got his money from?
Well, James Franco in interviews has actually said that that's those are one of the three things, and they talk about it in the movie. There's one of the three things that, like, Tommy will just not tell anybody. He won't tell his age, he won't tell where he's from, and he won't what was that last one? He won't tell his age, he won't tell where he's from.
He won't tell where he got his money from.
And where he won't tell him where he's got his money. So there's three things that he will never say.
Sounds like he's a criminal.
Right, like he has a checkered past or something. Which I wouldn't put it past him, but, like, why don't you tell your age? You know, there's a great scene where the mom comes up.
He doesn't want people being able to connect the dots in any kind of way.
Right.
So if he tells his age,
they'll find
people can start connecting dots.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm surprised nobody's, like, gone into his.
I'm sure they have.
Like DMV records or something.
I'm sure they have.
Because he drives, so he has to have a license.
Yeah.
So they have to look at, unless he lies on his license or something, which I don't know. Like, this is so weird. So anyway, yeah. So but there's that great scene with the mom coming up and saying, "How old are you, Tommy?" And he goes, "I'm Greg's age." It's like, "You're 19?" He's like, "Y'all."
She's like, "I'm 14. It's my birthday." He said, "Happy birthday."
No. She doesn't say birthday, but he says happy birthday.
Oh yeah, she says, "I'm 14." He says, "Happy birthday."
Happy birthday. It's so great. And then let's see what else. Like,
what was the "How's your sex life"?
Yeah, well, that's in the actual movie, but he doesn't do that, but he does. Like, he's just so strange. There's one scene in the movie right after the first time he picks him up, right, in the car, he looks over and goes, that's don't talk to Robot Crab, he's shy. What?
There's
a robot crab.
Was it like Lego?
It looked like it wasn't Lego. It looked like it was like literally like a small little robot crab, that you put on your dashboard. Like, I'm wondering if Tommy really has one, because I've never.
And, like, for that to be so specific in the movie, I feel like that
had to have been like
something that happened.
Yeah,
because they made it like very specific.
Robot crab. Don't talk to him.
Robot crab.
Don't talk to him.
I mean, would you remember if someone said that to you? Like, I would put that in
a
movie. Like,
I'd have to read the book.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Robot crab.
Yeah, where he mentions like a robot crab. Like, I was just imagining like a big robot, but it's like a teeny tiny robot.
It's like on the dash of his car.
Oh, it's so strange. And then so Tommy and Greg become friends, and then Tommy, I guess, gets a little too close. Like, he becomes really, and I don't know how much of it is real and how much of it was like made for the movie, and everything, and even how much of it was made for the book. because I think sometimes they take liberties and make things a little, because Greg probably remembered things that others didn't remember, and then others remember things that Greg probably forgot. How it went. So there's I've talked to Robin Paris, who was actually in the original room. She was not Juliette Danielle, who I do follow on Twitter, but she was the other girl who's in it briefly. Like in the Disaster Artist, they really did not. They used June Diane Raphael, who has a great podcast called How Did This Get Made. She's part of that, and actually a few of the How Did This Get Made people are in that. And it's a fantastic podcast. However, she's not really in it as much, which kind of was a bummer.
I was eating these outside.
Okay. So she wasn't in it that much, but she still did a fantastic. I mean, for the parts and for the stuff that's going on, I mean, it was nice. You want to go out? You want to go out there too? You go potty. Go potty. Go ahead. Go potty.
Okay.
Okay. Stay here. Either way. So there's a lot of characters because there's a lot of stuff that happened. And we didn't even get to the actual making of it yet. So in the story, they become friends. He realizes he needs to be less fearless. He needs to be more fearless, and they kind of bond. They move in together in LA, and quickly Greg gets a girlfriend. Gets a girlfriend, gets an agent. He's not even booking work, and Tommy's already getting jealous. It's like, oh, you big movie star now. You showed me how to do this stuff. So
he's like, you get me agent.
You give me you just go in there and you tell her. Like, you say, I know my friend Tommy. That's not how it works. They like, and especially the way
it does, but after a while,
right?
Like, you working. But...
Yeah, it's you walk in the first day and say, oh, my roommate needs a job too. Like,
this isn't like Little Caesars.
Yeah. And even in Little Caesars, sometimes they don't go, like, they have to apply, they have to,
I've never worked for Little Caesars.
Yeah. But yeah, so he ends up getting the job, getting the agent, and so Tommy just gets fed up with the fact that nothing's happening for him. So he decides he's gonna make his own movie, and he spends like $5 to $6 million on a movie. And the first thing he does is he goes to Burns and Sawyer, which is a real like rental house. I'm not sure where it is. Maybe it's like Burbank or something. But he goes to Burns and Sawyer and says, we're gonna buy your equipment. And they're like, we don't buy equipment. Like we rent equipment.
Yeah.
And they're like, the other guy looks at, come here, says, hey, look. If this guy wants to buy our equipment, let's get him to do that. So they convince him to buy the equipment, but on a rate, like a smaller rate, if they shoot at Burns and Sawyer, which all happened. They shot at Burns and Sawyer. They actually made sets that looked like the sets that they were the places that they were just right next to, like the rooftop. They made a fake rooftop. They, when they didn't need to make a fake rooftop,
wasted money.
They wasted a lot of money on stuff. The biggest thing they wasted money on is they shot in both digital and film. And the worst part about that was, in real life, what happened, the reason why they were shooting on both was because he was spying on the cast and crew. So he was never ever planning. Now that never there's never any line in the movie where, like Seth Rogen's character, Sandy or something, said, oh, is this why you have the digital equipment, so you can spy on us? They could have said that. That might have,
That did happen.
No, there wasn't.
No, it did happen because they were only shooting on film, but the guy who did digital was the behind-the-scenes guy.
No, they had the behind-the-scenes guy extra in the movie. Now, I don't know if that was actually what really happened or not, in the room, but I know that they actually, from what I read in the book. Now, it's been a while since I read it, so I could be wrong.
I'm probably wrong.
I thought that they had actually shot both. They were going to shoot both. And because they had actually hired a guy to play Mark. You know, because Greg didn't want to at first. Because he was like, this is like a $5 million movie. I don't want to ruin your movie. But they never show that in the actual movie, in Disaster Artist. They just automatically is already Mark. You know, he says, oh yeah, I'll agree to do your movie. In the book, he actually said, no, I don't want to do this. I'm scared I'm going to ruin your movie. I will work on it as crew and help you, but I can't, I don't want to mess it up. So he does the digital and the film, right? And basically they're shooting some of the scenes, and then they're going to fire the guy that played Mark. He's like, that's what Tommy's plan was, to fire the guy that was going to play Mark, just so he can get Greg to step in and play it. It's fucked up. They don't show that. I think a lot of things they don't show that's in the book, because it really makes Tommy unlikable. As I was explaining to you before, I mean, already he was very unlikable, but like there were moments where you start kinda, I guess.
To me, he wasn't unlikable. He was what the fuckable.
Yeah, what the fuckable.
I mean, he was kind of like just watching a train wreck. Like, you don't want to watch it, but you can't stop.
Right.
It's like you don't hate it.
Yeah.
You don't love it either.
Yeah, it's like...
It's just entertainment.
It's just entertainment. And so, so basically they end up... in real life, they end up having Mark take over. And that pissed off the guy that was supposed to play Mark, you know. So they had Greg take over. They was supposed to play Mark because, like, he's like, what the fuck? And actually 2 people left because of that, you know, and everything. So Sandy, and I wish I need to interview some of these actual people that were like on the set, but I guarantee you a ton of them don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? Because like, A, it's probably been talked to death, you know, of stuff, and B, it's just like it's painful to like remember this.
I don't know, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I mean, it depends on the person. I mean,
if I can get one of them,
I mean, they made like a pretty big deal out of the movie,
right? Yeah.
So it's like maybe they didn't have the best performance, but I guarantee you they got other chances.
Definitely. They got work after this. You know, it's not like
any promotion is good promotion.
Well, I just felt bad. The main girl in the room, Juliette Danielle, who is I forgot the girl's name. Can you look that up real quick? There was the girl who played Juliette in The Disaster Artist. She's actually been in a lot of big stuff. Like she was in, if I'm correct, there was a Bad Teacher like TV show, and she was in that. Things like that. If you say her name, I'll be like, yes, that's it. But I can't remember offhand what her name was.
Hold on.
But yes.
You want me to look up this one or The Room?
Oh no, the Disaster Artist. The girl who played Juliette. You know.
Oh, the blonde.
Yeah. She was in a lot of stuff. You've seen stuff she's in.
Yeah, a lot of stuff.
And like all the actors who played the characters looked very much like the characters that they were portraying. Yeah. So they did a fantastic job in casting. It's not like they were like, let's just cast my friends, you know. Like I think even down to like Seth Rogen playing Sandy, I mean, he looked like him, you know. Like he probably didn't sound like him or whatnot, but he looked like him. Josh Hutcherson was just amazing. Yes, Ari Grainer. Oh, she is... I absolutely adore her, and she did a fantastic job. And this, especially, there's a scene where Tommy's supposed to be having sex with her, and then he's
having sex with her stomach.
Yeah, but he looks down and
he
sees her. What in the world is all that on his face?
Sorry.
What is on his face? Oh, this is the shit that happens, literally.
It looks like a spider web.
Oh. So she, no. So I kind of feel bad, but like there's a scene, and then actually, I believe it actually happened. Juliette was doing that scene with Tommy, and Tommy got mad because she had a birthmark on her shoulder. And
he kept calling her gross and
disgusting.
It's like,
get that disgusting thing off. This is supposed to be an American sexy movie. I love James Franco, like the way, I can't even, like, I'm imitating it, but like he nailed it. He nailed it. He was pretty much Tommy.
He was all in.
Yeah, I thought he did a wonderful job. So I adored him in it. I adored Dave Franco. I adored him in it. I adored his real life wife played his girlfriend in it. Alison Brie. If you know Paul, my buddy Paul, who's in Indie Film Cafe with me, he absolutely, like, Alison Brie is his, like, favorite human being in the world. Like, he has the biggest crush on her. And I don't blame him, especially even in this movie. It's sort of a small role, but she's so adorable, and I kind of feel bad for the way, like, Tommy treats her, because Tommy is really upset the whole time. There was a lot of stuff they didn't even put into the movie. And the worst part is I don't even think there was that many deleted scenes, or if any, on the Blu-ray. And the I think there was commentary. There's commentary with James, Dave, and Tommy and Greg.
Oh,
and
really?
Stuff. Yeah,
Did we miss that?
Well, no, I mean, actually, we didn't listen to the commentary. But yeah.
We should have.
Yeah.
While we were watching it.
While we were watching it, you haven't even seen it. You gotta watch the movie first, then you watch the commentary afterwards. But no, it was funny because like there was some stuff that was actually not in the movie that was in the book that talked about certain things that I want to. Let's see. What was the thing specifically that I'm trying to remember? There was
I didn't read the books.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to help me. But there was this great scene with Tommy and I think it was Greg, and they were supposed to meet up with these women at a kind of like a double date kind of thing, and Tommy was just totally rude to them, like, what are you doing sitting next to us? Like, I don't know, like, I don't want you here. Kind of thing. And he was like rude, and they're like, and stuff like that, which once again, I think a lot of the very things that would like make him look just mean, spirited. The other thing I was telling Jackie about is I swear to God they filmed this, so I'm really upset that this is not on the DVD. On the Blu-ray. I did not see this on the in the Blu-ray, but there was a great thing in the book where Greg gets this opportunity to go to Romania, I think it was Romania, to shoot Puppet Master 7, Retro Puppet Master. And as he's home, or as he's out there, Tommy is getting kind of jealous of the fact that he's getting work, from his agent. So Greg comes back, and I guarantee it was filmed because I remember David Dakota, the director, actually was credited on IMDb as being in it. And then, so I was like, wow, they're going to show like that scene? Because there's this great scene where Greg comes home and sees that his mail's opened, right? And he was like, why is my mail open? And Tommy's like, I don't know, right? He's like, Tommy, you don't go through somebody's mails. I can go through your mail. You live here. You're under my roof. You live in my house. And he's like, that's tampering with other people's mail. That's like against the law. You can't do this. He's like, you're my roommate. I do what I want. In my house. Like, he leaves it. I was just like, oh, why didn't they put that in there? Once again, goes to making him look like a worse person. And one of the things that Tommy himself actually made James promise him was that he was going to make him, likable enough where people would be rooting for him at the end and everything. And I guess that's technically what happens, because at the end, they have the big premiere, but people start laughing at it, right?
Yeah.
And then, what?
He's crying.
And he's crying.
And then he realizes that, hey, this isn't such a bad thing. Which I don't know if that really happened in real life, but...
That's the thing. I think that was made up. And I don't even think that was in the book. I don't think that was... I think that was tacked on at the end to give it sort of a happy ending, kind of thing. Because, especially for Tommy's ego a little bit. Because Tommy never walked up and said, this was intentionally funny. From what I've understood, he has never thought that movie was supposed to be intentionally funny, at all, period. I think he's come to terms with the fact that it's a bad movie and that people view it as that, but I don't think he ever, will ever say, I made a bad movie, he probably still to this day looks at that movie going, that's the best movie I've ever made. Right? I'll probably never make another one just like that. And he probably never will.
I don't think he... I don't... Obviously, he's not all there.
Right. So you don't think he actually thinks it's a good movie?
No, I think he thinks it's a wonderful movie.
Right?
But...
Look, I'll make this movie. It's good. My acting, look at it.
Yeah, he's one of those people that is never going to actually see, who he really is. And he's just in his head about who he is.
Right.
Which, a lot of perfectly sane people are like that. But, I don't know if that's safe or not. I see a psychiatrist. I don't know.
One of my favorite things is James Franco talking about how I think I told you about this, but James Franco was on a was it Jimmy Kimmel or one of those shows and was like, yeah, Tommy originally, when I said I was gonna make, I asked if I could make this movie. Tommy said sure, Or Tommy was like, I don't know, who's gonna play me? Right? And James was like, who do you want to play you? He goes, Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. I think Johnny Depp could play me. And he was like, I don't know, man. That's kind of a tall order. If we can't get Johnny, who do you think? Who else do you think? And Greg was on the phone with him at the time and said, why not you, James? Because he had actually known that James, was one of his favorite people, favorite actors, right? And I was like, what about you, James? And he was like, yeah, Tommy, what do you think? Could I play you? And he goes, yeah, you do some good movies, you do some bad ones. Yeah, you're good actor, James. You could play me.
I couldn't imagine Johnny Depp playing that.
I could.
Looks-wise, well,
no,
okay, yeah.
Maybe, even looks-wise.
I think just after watching it and seeing that Franco, nailed it the way that he did,
I know.
I couldn't see Johnny Depp.
The only reason why I wouldn't have wanted him to do it, is because he had already done a movie called Ed Wood, which is one of my favorite movies, and it was about a really bad filmmaker in the 50s. And, and it was a very, it had a very likable love charm. It was also written by the guys who did Man on the Moon, all these wonderful things. And then the guys who wrote this one, what are their names? Gotta be in that thing. Scott, Scott Nystander and Michael Weber. I can never say Scott's name right. They were both wonderful directors who had done a movie called 500 Days of Summer and had done a bunch of other great based on book movies, right? A lot of them, they took movies that were based on or made movies based on books. And there was one, there's just been a few awesome ones. And this one, they did a great job. Now, I don't know how much of it was improv, too, some of it had to have been improv as well, and a lot of it also had to have been, I think, James Franco's vision of what he thought, you know, would be the life, the world that Tommy lived in, you know, and stuff too. Because, like, you could tell that James went the distance with Tommy to the point of, like, knowing, like, every, like, little thing, like the crab thing, things like that. And that might have been in the book. Once again, I don't know, but, like, a lot of it might have just been Tommy and Tommy and James, or Tommy and the writers getting together and, like, hanging out for a day and kind of seeing how Tommy is, so they can put little
I wouldn't
things in
doubt
there.
if, like, James spent a lot of time with Tommy.
I know,
like, days, if not weeks.
He probably had to, because I think Tommy was one of the producers, basically, or whatever. Like, he helped make sure, you know, like, he was wanting to make sure that, like, consulting producer or something, making sure he didn't
It's hanging around to keep his character alive. I'm sure they didn't take much note of what he was saying.
Yeah, like, I remember, like, at the end of the movie, after the credits, we saw this, like, really weird scene that was out of nowhere, but was Tommy talking to Tommy. So it was Tommy talking to James as Tommy, but Tommy is this other character. I don't know, and it was awkward and weird. Like, I can see why they put it at the end, because it had no place. I don't even know where it would have, like, fit in the movie. But I think, like, one of Tommy's demands was that he be in the movie, you know? And he's like, I don't know how that works with me playing you, you know? Right? Like, because we're both going to have the same accent and stuff. It's just going to look weird, right? I was like, wow, come on, let me play me. Or let me play a character. Let me play something in the movie. I don't know. I think that's literally probably what happened, because he did have a scene with him, and they both say the same thing. And he says,
did he?
Yeah, it was at the end. Remember, we watched the credits, and then at the end there was, like, one weird tacked on scene that was, like, him talking to some guy, and the guy's on the roof, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but that was at the end of the movie where everyone is like, okay, we know what's going on now. Like, we see what they're doing.
Right. It wasn't in the movie.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, Tommy actually wanted to be a character in the movie.
Tommy is also, excuse my language, but obviously not fucking there.
That fucking crazy? That shit crazy?
I mean, maybe it's better off to be that way.
Yeah.
He seems fine.
He's on Tommy's Planet. He has a production company called Tommy's Planet. Totally makes sense, you know?
All about Tommy.
Yeah. And he is, like, you saw, I actually showed, she's never seen The Room, the full thing, but I showed her clips and scenes and everything. And just everything, like, anything that could be, like, awful is awful in this movie. There's nothing good. Like, it didn't work out. Even Zeke thinks so. Oh, no.
They shut themselves off.
Oh, no.
Sorry, babies.
Ugh.
I'm so sorry.
No. But yeah, so it was just weird at times. So the movie itself, and so for them to go and they actually did, like, scene by scenes, and you can actually see at the end of the movie there's, like, little in the credits they actually show, like, the scene by scene comparisons of The Room and Disaster Artist. So it was, it was pretty cool. Oh God, no. All right, come on. Okay, there. Good boys.
Okay, puppies.
All right. Okay. Be careful.
Sorry, the zoo.
This is what happens when
Welcome
I get.
to the zoo.
I can't do an episode with Jackie without the dogs. That's just not gonna happen.
Welcome to the zoo. I have literally turned into my mother. Christ save us all.
What else? So after seeing some of the clips from The Room and seeing The Disaster Artist, did you think that they did it, like, justice of how bad it was? Or do you think, like, The Room can never...
I mean, well, it was a movie about making the movie. So
right.
I think they did a good job at it. Yeah.
Guys, take it in the other room. Come
Too late for this stuff.
on. Oh my goodness. Alright. So, yeah, so that's, I don't know, I think, like, they did a great job, like, putting the two, like, things, you know, melding.
They definitely did great casting. Like, all the characters really looked alike when they put them side by side.
Even Zac Efron, and
yeah.
I think you were blown away a little bit by Zac Efron's performance in that thing, in the scene.
Yeah,
playing
because you
Chris
told me
Hart.
it was like all bad acting.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like the first scene you see in the thing is him like
he's like punching the wall. He's all in.
Yeah, he's all in. He's did a great job and like scared the shit out of Josh Hutcherson's character, you know, or whatever, you know, where he's like, "Where's my fucking money, Timmy?" And
the way they did Josh Hutcherson's hair, like, I think they did it for like comedic relief of like how dramatic they made his hair versus like the guy in the real movie.
yeah,
It's pretty funny.
yeah, they didn't. It wasn't nearly as bad in the real movie.
No, but they like over exaggerated it for sure. And
Yeah.
it's funny. Sorry, my foot has like pins and needles in it. God, holy balls!
Guys, calm down.
You guys are not kangaroos.
Apparently they think so. So that was, I don't know, like, yeah, and like I said, Josh, or what, not Josh, but Zach did such a great job, because I didn't even recognize him, you know, like he, did you recognize him? Like, if I hadn't said that was Zac Efron, would you have said?
After a minute, yeah, I
You
would have
would've-
noticed. I don't think so.
You did
Right
notice
away.
Josh, like, right away.
Yeah.
But you've actually seen Josh up close and personal, so like I don't know, like I don't watch, was it The Hunger Games? Was that what he was in?
Yeah.
Like I was never, like I'm not a Hunger Games guy. See, I didn't even know that.
Well, I wasn't either, but I mean, like, I think like a lot of the population of America watched the first one.
Right.
I think he just has a very distinctive face. They didn't have like any prosthetics or anything on him.
Yeah, they didn't make him look different. Really,
It was just the haircut.
It was just the hair.
Yeah, so he
Which-
was just easier to point out. I don't know.
And yeah, and Zac Efron, like I said, was really good. He played Chris R, which was that was the character's name. I don't remember what the actual actor's name that he portrayed. But the funniest thing is, like, the guy's like, should I call him Chris? I mean, shouldn't I just call him Chris? Chris R seems kind of... No, his name's Chris R, man. Call him that.
So weird.
It was so great. It was, like, because it did remind me of Ed Wood. It really did. Because, like, a lot of it was like, you know, why are you doing this? Don't ask me questions. Just do it. You know? Keep your questions in your pocket.
It was bad.
That's what he said, stuff like that. And my favorite thing in the whole movie is at the end, the last little thing with Tommy, he looks over and goes, you know, you named Tommy? I was like, yeah, my name Tommy with the capital go away.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah, he did.
I missed that part.
I was like, what is he, a fucking child? That was what James Franco had him say, or whatever.
It was like, I think I don't know, it would be like more, like, it's funny because you know nothing about Tommy and you just are seeing Tommy and he's so crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like, what if you knew some of his background?
Right.
Like where he came from.
Nobody knows that.
Because there was like there's really no character build up for him because he doesn't have any like.
There's the mystery of his character.
Yeah, there's the mystery.
Which is kind of cool.
But there's no background for his character.
But there's also a lot of, like, what I got out of it was that Tommy and Greg, it was a love story in a way, right? But it was like one where one character loved the other character so much, you know, they were best friends or whatever. And then the one character just betrayed him, you know. But he didn't. He just got a girlfriend. That happens, you know. And so in the movie, they actually have this scene where they're all around the table trying to kind of dissect the room and trying to say, you know, so Tommy, you know, there must have been a Lisa in Tommy's life, you know. And this is probably based on something that happened except for the suicide at the end, obviously, you know. was it Tommy's not a ghost, you know? So I don't know. Might be a vampire. That's what everybody keeps saying. One of my other favorite bits is that he's in one of the acting classes, and they're like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing sonnet like Shakespeare." And he's like, "Why don't you play like a villain? You'd be really good at that." And he's like, "I'm not villain, you villain." You know, right? And all the people are laughing. I was like, "See, you all laugh. That's what villain do."
Oh yeah.
You know, right? And he and that totally made sense to me. Like that's how Tommy is. Like Tommy thinks like the whole world is against him, and he wrote it into a movie because he has the line in the room where he's like, everybody betray me," and he's got like he's got the tape recorder, right?
Yeah.
So he's taping his friends that are betraying, and he's actually doing this in real life. Like it's really bizarre if you think about how weird like his movie was to his actual life, mirrored his actual life. And Tommy was Johnny and Johnny is Tommy. Like it is completely him. It's very truthful to who he is, you know. And I think that's also what made the movie great, you know. I have this thing where if I had to rate this like high up, it would be right next to Ed Wood. Ed Wood would still win. I think only because I felt like even though Ed Wood's movies were bad, they weren't good. They weren't Tommy bad. You know, like I don't know.
That's a different universe.
I know, and I think even Ed Wood felt a little bit like he knew that they weren't. He still tried so hard to make something good. He just wasn't able to do it. Tommy didn't try at all. He just made a bad movie, you know. And then he made a TV show that was on Hulu for a little bit called Neighbors. It streamed on Hulu, everybody. I think this is before Disney took over Hulu, by the way. Hey, calm down. Go lie down. Go down, lie down, Zeke. We're almost done. So anyway, Tommy made this movie called Neighbors, a sitcom called Neighbors, where he was trying to be funny, and it was not good. It was about all these people lived in a apartment complex, but it made no sense. You know, just like many of his stuff. Then he made a movie called Best Friends with Greg, right? And I forgot which one it was. Maybe the S or whatever had parentheses around it, and basically, or with R I think R had the parentheses saying it could have been Best Fiends, you know. And basically, it was a 3-hour long movie. It was in 2 volumes. You hear that? 2 volumes of this really bad movie, and my roommate's friend has it, you know, and he's gonna have me watch it at some point and do a review of it, you know. So I can't wait. And they've got another movie coming out, and it's coming out, I'm hoping, this year, because that's what we're doing for Indie Film Cafe. It's gonna be a movie called Big Shark, because I want to do a movie about a big shark. I'm gonna call it Big Shark.
Big Shark.
So I can't wait to see that.
Zeke!
That's a good way to get his attention. It's too late for this shit. Sorry. And so, yeah. It's pretty much, I guess, to wrap it up, what were your final thoughts on it?
Well, for me, and I'm not your average Joe, I mean, the movie kept my attention. I mean, I would watch it again. From
the very beginning.
Yeah, I would watch it again. Like, for sure.
From the Stella scene, you know, she was like, okay, what the hell am I watching? Because she had no context to any of it. She had not seen it. She had not seen The Room. She had not even heard Tommy. I think I might have done an impression right before, but she had no idea what she was in for.
Yeah.
I mean, you had never even heard of it, had you?
No.
No. This was not, like, in her wheelhouse. And so and you're not even usually a fan of like really bad movies. You always laugh at all the really shitty movies I watch. You know.
Yeah, I never want to watch them.
Yeah. So the fact that she actually wants to watch The Room sometime really makes this like the ultimate movie. I was hanging out with a friend of mine who actually was with this girl, and we talked about how we had actually interviewed what's her name? Robin Paris. You know, so my co-host Morgan at the time had to actually watch The Room to do it, and she was like, "What the hell am I watching?" I think she fast forwarded through a lot of it because it was so bad. And then she, but Robin did a great job in in The Room. She's probably one of the best actors in the movie. But a lot of the stuff that they showed in this actually happened. So understand, like, there's probably some liberties, there's some things that didn't, but a lot of it actually did. And it's really sad that some of the stuff that, happened happened in real life. And so, like I said, I don't know what parts did or didn't, because I wasn't there. I would have loved to have been there. As they said in the beginning, they have all these people, celebrities, talking about how wonderful this experience was. And it was, what's the guy's name? Was it Adam? Is his name Adam something?
Which guy? The
guy from Step Brothers who played, like, the brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was wonderful in, like, in Step Brothers and Party Down, a bunch of other shows that he's been in.
He did a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and he comes up and he says in the movie that he would give anything to go back and just be a fly on the wall of this movie and see like it get made. And so I think this was like the best example of it. The last thing I'll share is one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is him talking to the producer at the table. Judd Apatow played him. I don't know Judd Apatow if it was actually something that happened to Judd Apatow himself with Tommy or not. I think Judd actually used to go to the screenings of The Room and watch it. Was my thing. But
Ghost.
So there's a bit where Tommy comes up and sees a producer and he's like, "You're that big movie producer," right? And he's like, he's eating dinner at his table, and he's like, "Look, I'm at dinner right now. This is not an appropriate time." And he's like, when would be an appropriate time? And he's like, "Just come, go to my agency, give headshot. I got a headshot here." He gives him like a folded out headshot.
I think he said resume.
And resume. I think he had the resume.
But then he handed him a headshot.
Right.
Like I don't know. That's what I heard.
And then he goes and he looks at him and goes, he's like, "Look, this isn't an appropriate time." And then he starts going right in to Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He does to be or not to be. That is the question. And literally, he's going from like for a while before somebody comes over and stops him and says, excuse me, sir." And it's like, "Why?" And he's like hitting everything. He broke a glass, and oh my god, it was so great. And Judd Apatow looks at him and says the one thing that like I think sets the whole movie to like help him get to where he needs to be, which he says, "Never in a million years are you gonna make it."
Yeah, 1 in a million.
You're 1 in a million.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, never in a million years. He goes, after that.
He goes, "You'll still not make it."
You'll still not make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, after that, he was like, look, even with Brando's talent, you can't, you're like, there's a million to one chance. And that a lot of it has luck, and a lot of it has all these other things to it, which, is true. Like, it's not just you go into audition and you all of a sudden make it. It takes a lot of guts, it takes a lot of practice and a lot of talent, and a lot of stuff that Tommy doesn't have. However,
It's not even just that.
he had money and was able to make his own movie and get it out there. And, I mean, because he said something about him never being famous. And guess what? He's famous. He's famous for making a bad movie. And he's famous for starring in a bad movie. And he does get asked to be in other bad movies. Because, yeah, he was in Samurai Cop 2. And he's been in a couple other ones. I wonder how much he charges, you know. What's his day rate? Right? We were talking about that earlier of what Will Smith's day rate would be. But, like, what would, what would Tommy's day rate be? Do you want to take a guess?
What?
I don't know the answer. I'm just saying, would you want to take a guess of what his day rate would be?
I mean, what he wants versus what he actually gets?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one.
Well, he probably thinks he's worth, a couple thousand a day.
He probably thinks he's worth $1 million.
Probably.
You know? You probably think, oh, you guys, I spent $6 million on my movie. You can't give me $1 million for yours? What's wrong with you? Why don't you have money? But yeah, that's the thing. You know, I don't act in small movies now. I act in big ones.
Jesus.
You know, right? Like, I guarantee you, that's kind of how he is. And, you know, I've seen him in interviews, and I've seen him in, just other things, and behind-the-scenes stuff. He's honestly on his own, like, world, on his own Tommy's planet. So he is who he is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, with that being said, I think if you haven't seen The Disaster Artist, you definitely should. I think it's definitely a movie that I like love. I hold up. So I think you guys should see it. Everybody did a fantastic job. There's so many actors and so many people. I can actually talk about all of them. So there's a lot of characters.
Well,
a lot
obviously, because we've been recording for almost an hour, nobody's gonna watch this whole thing.
Maybe they will. I don't know.
2 people.
Me and me?
Yeah.
Oh, alright. Well, me and Ghost. Ghost will watch it with me.
I'm super optimistic.
I think Ghost will watch it with me. When do you watch it, Ghost? But anyway, thank you guys for checking this out for 50-something minutes and watching us talk about The Disaster Artist, which, like I said, one of my favorite movies. And I'm glad you said you'd actually watch it again. You know?
Yeah, because there's, like, nothing I would watch again.
Yeah, it's tough for her to actually have her do that. That says a lot. So, James, you did a wonderful job. Dave, you did a wonderful job. Everybody in the crew and cast, everybody did fantastic. This should have won an Oscar. The fact that it didn't is kind of a shame. At least, like, I don't know if it did win any Oscars, but it really, or even went up for any Oscars, but it should have. Like,
it was Golden Globe.
It was Golden Globe nominated. It didn't even win, which really sucks.
Well, they got nominations, though.
I know, but it still sucks because
Who gives a shit? It's all, like, political nonsense these days anyways. Who gives a flying fuck?
Yeah, I guess it wasn't politically correct enough or something. I don't know. But I liked it. I loved it. Like, I think it's a great movie. I think if you love the spirit of indie filmmaking and the spirit of people going out and getting their shit, made and out there and getting famous for it, thankfully, unlike Ed Wood got famous after his death. Tommy got famous during, because this is the time of bad movies and stuff.
Did you say he got famous during his death?
No, not during his death, but
that's basically what it sounded like.
Well, I'm sorry. I meant like he got famous during the making of this movie. Maybe it feels like he got famous during the death of good filmmaking. But no, it was a wonderful movie. I loved it, and I watch this movie all the time now. It's on, like, I think it's on Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, check it out. I would suggest it.
What are you eating?
And watch it all the time. Watch it whenever you can, because it's kept the spirit of everything. And literally, you could watch James Franco saying Stella. What?
What?
Stella. Oh, I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. But no, I did not hit her. It's bullshit.
Not. It's bullshit. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. 67 takes.
I don't think it was that many takes. I think it was less than that. But it might have felt like that, you know, when they were making it. I don't know. So, but it was funny because you even said after up to like 67 takes, Dave Franco walks up and is like, I might have an idea to help you. You're like, not in 67, not in like 30 or less. And I thought that was funny because that was a great scene. So all right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed, and check back next week for another Blu Ray Hunter. Probably not with Jackey.
Yeah, probably not.
Bye.